Welcome to Vedanta Bhakti Pravachanam. We are looking into Sai Satcharitra chapter 6 part 2. In the previous chapter, we saw how the Ramanavami and the Urs celebrations were being made. So let's continue the chapter. There was another procession which was started in this fair. The idea of sandal procession originated with one Mr. Amir Sakar Dhalal, a Mohammedan Bhakta from Korhala. This procession is held in honor of great Muslim saints. Sandal, that is chandan paste and scrapings, are put into the thali with incense burning before them and carried in the procession to the accompaniment of band and music through the village, and then after returning to the masjid, the contents of the dishes are thrown on the nimbar and walls of the masjid. This work was managed by Amir Sakar for the first 3 years and then afterwards by his wife. So on the same day, the two processions, the flags by the Hindus and sandal by the Muslims, went on side by side and are still going without any problem. The day was very dear and sacred to the devotees of Sai Baba. Most of them turned up for the occasion and took part in the management of the fair. Tatya Kote Patil looked to all outward efforts, while the internal management was entirely left to Radha Krishna Mai, a female devotee of Baba. Her residence was full of guests on the occasion, and she had to look after their needs and also arrange for the paraphernalia of the fair. Another work which she willingly did was to clean and whitewash the entire masjid. Its walls and floor, which was blackened and were full of soot on account of the perpetual dhuni of Sai Baba. This she did during the night when Sai Baba had gone to sleep every alternate night in the chavadi. She had to take out all the things including the dhuni and after through cleaning and whitewashing replace them as they were before. Feeding the poor, which was so dear to Sai Baba, was also an important item in this fair. For this purpose, cooking on a grand scale and preparing various sweet dishes was done in Radha Krishna Mai's lodging, and various rich and wealthy devotees took a leading part in this. Things were going in this way and the fair was gradually increasing in importance till 1912 when the change took place. That year one devotee, Mr. Krishna Rao Jogeshwar Bhishma, came for the fair with Dada Saheb Kaparde of Amravati and was staying in the Dikshit Wada while he was laying in the veranda, and while Mr. Lakshman Rao alias Kaka Mahajani was going with puja materials to the masjid, as thought arose in his mind, and he accosted the latter thus: there is some providential arrangement in the fact that the Urs or fair is celebrated in Shirdi on Ramanavami. Ramanavami is very dear to all the Hindus. Then why not begin the Ramanavami festival, the celebration of birth of Sri Ram on this day here? Kaka Mahajani liked the idea, and it was arranged to get Baba's permission in this matter. The main difficulty was how to secure a Haridas who would do kirtan and sing the glories of Lord on this occasion. But Bhishma solved the difficulty by saying that his Ram Akhyan, the composition of Ram's birth, was ready and he would do the kirtan himself. While Kaka Mahajani should play on the harmonium, it was also arranged to get the Suntvada as prasad prepared by Radha Krishna Mai. So they immediately went to masjid to get Baba's permission. Baba, who knew everything and ever of what was happening there, asked Mahajani as to what was going in the question and remained silent. Then Baba asked Beast what he had to say. He explained the idea of celebrating Ramanavami festival and asked Baba for his permission, and Baba gladly gave it. He rejoiced and made preparations for the Jayanti festival. Next day, the masjid was decorated with buntings, etc. A cradle was supplied by Radhakrishna Mai and placed in front of Baba's seat, and proceedings started. Bhishma stood up for Kirtan and Mahajani began to play on the harmonium. Sai Baba sent a man to call Mahajani. He was hesitating to go, doubtfully whether Baba would allow the festival to go on. But when he went to Baba, the latter asked him as what was going on and why the cradle was placed there. He answered that the Ramanavami festival has commenced and the cradle was put out for that purpose. Then Baba took the garland from Nimbar and placed it round his neck and sent another garland for Bhishma. Then the kirtan commenced. When it came a close, loud sounds of victory to Ram went up and Gulal was thrown up all around. Amidst band and music, everybody was overjoyed when suddenly a roar was heard. The red powder thrown promiscuously went up and somehow fell into Baba's eyes. Baba got wild and began to scold and abuse loudly. People got frightened and took their heels. The immediate devotees who knew Baba well took these scoldings and outpourings of Baba as blessings in disguise. They thought that when Rama was born, it was proper for Baba to get wild and enraged to kill Ravan and his demons in the form of egoism and wicked thoughts. Besides, they knew that whenever a new thing was undertaken at Shirdi, it was usual with Baba to get wild and angry, and so they kept quiet. Radhakrishna Mai was rather afraid and thought that Baba might break her cradle, and she asked Mahajani to pull the cradle back. When he went to loosen and unfasten the cradle, Baba went to him and asked him not to remove it. Then after some time, Baba became calm, and that day's program including Maha Puja and Aarti was finished. Later on, Mr. Mahajani asked Baba for permission to remove the cradle. Baba refused the same thing, saying that the festival was not yet over. The next day, another kirtan and Gopal Kala ceremony was done by Lord Krishna among his cows' herds, which was performed, and then Baba allowed the cradle to be removed. While the Ramanavami festival was thus going on, the procession of two flags by day and that of sandal by night went off with the usual pomp and show. From this time onwards, the Urs of Baba was transferred into the Ramanavami festival. From next year, that is 1913, the items in the program of Ramanavami began to increase. Radhakrishna Mai started a Nam Saptah. For this, all devotees took part by turns, and she also joined in sometimes early in the morning. As Ramanavami festival is celebrated in many places all over the country, the difficulty of getting a Haridas was felt again. But 5 or 6 days before this festival, Mahajani incidentally met Balabua, who was known for his modern Tukaram, and got him to do the kirtan that year. The next year, 1914, another Balabua Satarkar of Birhat Siddha Kavate district of Satra could not act as a Haridas in his own town as plague was prevailing there, and so he came to Shirdi with Baba's permission, which was secured through Kaka Sahib Dikshit. He did the kirtan and was sufficiently recompensed for his labor. The difficulty of getting a new Haridas every year was finally solved from 1914 by Sai Baba, as he entrusted this function to Das Ganu Maharaj permanently, and since that time he has been successfully and creditably conducting the function until now. Since 1912, this festival began to grow gradually year by year. From the 8th to 12th of Charitra, Shirdi looked like a beehive of men. Shops began to increase. Celebrated wrestlers took part in wrestling. Feeding of the poor was done on a grander scale. Hard work and sincere efforts of Radhakrishna Mai turned Shirdi into a Sansthan. Paraphernalia increased. A beautiful horse, a palki, chariot, and many silver items, utensils, pots, buckets, pitchers, mirrors, etc. were presented. Elephants were also sent for the procession. Though all this paraphernalia increased enormously, Sai Baba ignored all these things and maintained his simplicity and modesty as before. It is to be noted that both the Hindus and Mohammedans have been working in unison in both the processions during the entire festival, and there has been no confrontation or quarrel between them at all so far. First, about 5,000 to 7,000 people used to gather, but that figure went up to 75,000 in some years. Still, there was no outbreak of any epidemic disease nor any riots worth the name during past so many years. Another important idea occurred to Gopal Gund just as he started the Urs or fair. He thought that he should repair and renovate the masjid. So in order to carry out the repairs, he collected stones and got them dressed. But this work was not assigned to him. This was reserved to Nana Sahib Chandorkar and the pavement work for Kaka Sahib Dikshit. Initially, Baba was unwilling to allow them to have work done, but with the intervention of Mahalsapati, a local devotee of Baba, his permission was secured. Baba took a small gadi for his seat, discarding the usual piece of sackcloth, used it till then. In 1911, the Sabha Mandap was also put in order with great labor and effort. The open space in front of the masjid was very small and inconvenient. Kaka Sahib Dikshit wanted to extend it and put a roofing on it. At great expense, he got iron posts, pillars, and trusses and started the work. At night, all the devotees worked hard and fixed the post, but Baba, when he returned from Chavdi next morning, uprooted them all and threw them out. Once it so happened that Baba got very excited, caught a pole with one hand and began to shake and uproot it, and with the other hand caught Tatya Patil's neck. He thought by force Tatya's petha, struck a match, set it on fire and threw it in a pit. At that time, Baba's eyes flashed like a burning embers. None dared to look at him. All got terribly frightened. Baba took out a rupee from his pocket and threw it there, as if it were an offering on the auspicious occasion. Tatya was also much frightened. None knew what was going to happen to Tatya and none dared to interfere. Bagoji Shinde, the leaper devotee of Baba, made a bold advance, but he was pushed aside by Baba. Madhavra was also similarly pleated with brick pieces, so all those who went to intercede with similarity dealt with it. But after some time, Baba's anger cooled down. He sent for a shopkeeper, got from him an embroidered peta, and himself tied it on Tatya's head. as if he was being given a special honor. All the people were wonderstruck to see such a strange behavior of Baba. They were at a loss to know what enraged Baba so suddenly and what led him to assault Tatya Patil and why his anger cooled down the next moment. When Baba, sometimes very calm and quiet and talks sweet things with love, but suddenly, with or without any reason, got enraged. Many such instances may be related, but I don't know which to choose and which to omit. I therefore refer them as they occur to me. In the next chapter, the question whether Baba was a Hindu or a Mohammedan will be taken up, and his yogic practices and powers and other matters will also be dealt in it. Botu Sri Sai Baba.